So I can get that back in. Oh, we got it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Emlyn in the Mix show, season 4, episode 48. Yes, you can see we are checking out the brand new Arturia KeyStep Pro Chroma edition. Yes, we have one in the studio today. Check it out there. I did try to have an overhead cam for you guys today, but you wouldn't believe the technical difficulties I ran into. So for those of you who are watching us here on Spotify or on YouTube, this is the view we're going to have today, but I will explain things as we go through. What is the KeyStep Pro exactly? Well, before we do that, big shout out to our sponsor, the Ridley Academy. Now, I'll have a link down below. If you want to become a piano pro in just 21 days, Ridley Academy has got your back covered. Link down below. It is, of course, the sponsor of the Emlyn in the Mix show, which you're watching right now, of course. For 2023, these have been backing up your boy here. So if you want to back up the channel or you want to become a piano pro in just 21 days, click that link down below. All right, so what is the KeyStep Pro Chroma edition? So it is a sequencer, it is a MIDI controller, but it is more than just a MIDI controller. This has onboard sequencing with 4 MIDI channel outputs, which is super impressive. I know there are other types of MIDI controllers or sequencers on the market, but I gotta say, Arturia have gone above and beyond, especially with the tactile hardware approach. Everything feels pretty much top notch. Like, I'll jump over to the other camera there and, you know, I'll do my best to show you here. I really wanted to have that overhead cam, but for some reason, desk view wasn't working for me on the Mac. But yeah, you can see it there. It's really nicely laid out. You've got your 16-step sequencer, which can go up to 64 bars. So you can have quite a long sequence there. And you've got your modulation expression down the back there. And of course, on the left there, you got a transport control and you got your different MIDI outputs there, which you can see are all set to the value of 1 at the moment. And what I'm going to try and do on the show today is I'm going to attempt. Okay, I'm a noob with this. I'm going to be real with you right now if you're listening. I am new with this. So this is all, you know, new hardware to me. I'm going to attempt to show you, just make a little sequence using this. So we're going to be using Ableton Live as our host, but all the sequencing is going to be done from the KeyStep Pro Chroma. Now, also I did receive an email from Arturia as well, KeyStep Pro Chroma controller sequencer, which just dropped. This is brand new. It's a limited edition. And yeah, if you want to have a cyberpunk feel, that's how they're touting it here in the email. That's what the KeyStep Pro Chroma edition is gonna do for you. And they've got a brand new firmware update 2.5, which significantly enhances this beauty of a piece of hardware here as well, which is really fantastic. You've got, for example, send program changes. Users can now send program changes per pattern and per MIDI track. You got transpose latch, configure KeyStep Pro's transpose button to toggle transpose mode on and off. Quick access track settings, quickly change track specific settings by pressing shift and track number, and fixed velocity, determine a fixed velocity for press keys and triggering notes. So that's the firmware update there. But the KeyStep Pro Chroma is a special edition version of the unparalleled 4-track sequencer and keyboard, embellished with a sleek dark gray finish, great feeling knobs, and customizable track colors, and the same all-in-one power with more edge. Now it is $574. I'll have a link for it down below. There's no affiliate or clickback for me, but except for Arturia sending this out and letting us check it out. There it is there if you are watching us in the background, how it looks. It lights up really nice. And, you know, in the dark, or if you're in a dark environment, you're playing in the studio, you're jamming out. This thing is designed for playing live. It really is. You can change the colors of the steps. It's really cool. So It has Chroma aesthetics, customize your flow, exclusive to KeyStep Pro Chroma. You can customize the LED colors. So that can be done through the MIDI control center. We're not going to show you that on the show today, but you can customize all the colors of it, which is amazing. It is the must-have sequencer. KeyStep Pro remains the benchmark for hardware and software sequencing and creative performance alike. Chroma is no exception, your sequencer mastermind. Now, the other thing I do want to mention is if you have like a bunch of outboard gear, like synthesizers or drum machines, you can control it all from the KeyStep Pro. Now, obviously in my example today, we're just going to be using software, which still blows my mind. You can create a sequence using your DAW of choice. Of course, it doesn't have to be Ableton Live, and it will all be sequenced through the KeyStep Pro, which is really, really amazing. All right, so enter dark mode. Okay, it's all more about the KeyStep Pro Chroma. Again, I'll have a link for it down below. It's just a beautiful machine, absolutely fun. Again, thank you to Arturia for letting us check this out. I think, shall we dive? Shall we just go for it? Okay. Again, I'm an absolute noob when it comes to hardware sequences, but it's pretty intuitive. So you're gonna have to excuse me. Okay, so all right, so to kick us off, I thought we'll do some drums. Okay, we'll get a beat, we'll get a rhythm going here. I'll attempt using the sequencer, and again, you have to. I apologize in advance if this is a terrible demo today, but at least you can see the power of this thing. Okay, even if the user isn't that great. All right, cool. So I've got XLN's XO up here, which is a beautiful sampled, or it finds all your samples, and it includes samples of different drums, and it should be, yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. I'll jump over to the other camera there. Okay, cool. So here we have, we got a nice little drum kit going here. I can of course change that. So I can essentially, you should be able to see there, I can actually just press in, you know, my beat. We'll just keep it simple, 4 to the floor. Now when I press play, we should essentially, providing we have everything hooked up correctly, make sure it's on drum. Okay, so it has to be on drum here. Okay, cool. So I actually got to do that again. That's cool. Should work. Okay, so there's my sequence, 4 to the floor. There we go. All right, so we got a simple beat. Okay, so then we want to add a snare. Okay, cool. So now what we can actually do, so my snare's here, I can actually just record it in to make life easier, right? There we go. So we could do something like that. Want a hi-hat maybe? Actually, that's a nice little, I might just do that. It's like a little, let's do that. So let's record that in. Kind of, I guess it adjusts the time for me there because I'm pretty sure I didn't play it. I didn't quantize, or I think it quantizes automatically. So another thing I want to mention is you need to make sure you're in your drum mode here, which hopefully, you probably can't see it that well. I've just switched it over from the sequence, but I'll show you that as we add more things. All right, so I don't know, we can add some more, maybe that little, I guess that's sort of like a hi-hat. All right, so there's our little sequence. And if you weren't happy, you could always draw them back in to get them in quantized time. And you can adjust the pitch and the gate here as well on it. You got expression and pitch over here as well. All right, so we got a pretty simple beat. Okay, now the other cool thing with XO is if there's something you don't like, so that's our snare. What have we got? That's our little clap. Where's our little shaker? So if you didn't like this, we can just change it. So we could just change that out, right? Find something we like. Actually, we can just have it down in the mix, right? I'm not even sure if I like, what is that clap thing? Yeah, that's crap. Well, let's come down to our clap. Yeah, we're happy with that. That's kind of cool. I'll just turn that down a bit in the mix. Happy days with that. Yeah, we love it. Could always add a bit of, anyway, we're not showing off XL and audios. We're meant to be showing off the hardware, but you can adjust, obviously get it right, okay? For the sake of this video, we'll make it simple. All right, so there's our drum sequence, okay? So let's jump back over to the software here so you can see what's going on. All right, so one thing I want to show you, so now when we actually, just looking at the hardware, so we go over to track 2, right? So we've done our drum sequence. Now we're going to do an actual sequence of some keys or something. Make sure it's in sequence mode here. I'm just showing you the simplest way to do it. Now we jump back to the software. I just want to show you something here because this is something I had to discover. So what you want to do is you want to change, for example, that first one, MIDI from, you want to make sure, actually we've got to jump back so you can see where the MIDI is coming from. But you want to just check where your MIDI is coming from, right? Actually, you can just press it. Yeah, so it's coming from, for some reason it's coming from channel 10. So you want to select its exact channel. This is when you're doing like a few sequences, like 4 sequences, for example, is what I'm going to try and show you today. So now when we jump to, on the hardware, I jump over to track 2, okay? Hopefully not getting too technical for you guys. And then when we choose our MIDI in, you just press some keys and you can see where the actual MIDI's come from. So in this case, channel 2. Don't know why it's come from channel 10 for track 1, but maybe that, must be because it's the drum sequence. And then when it's sequence, normal sequence, it's probably channel 1. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, so we're on channel 2 for MIDI, we know that. And then if you want to hear the drum, this is the other tricky part that I had to discover, but if you want to hear the drums and the new sequence that we're about to do, you have to make sure both the drum track and the new sequence are armed. So it's essentially we should have the drums. Yeah, we still got it. All right, cool. When I'm pressing play there on the KeyStep Pro. Great, so let's just choose, I don't know, let's do Arturia. Let's keep it all in the Arturia. And we'll do the Analog Lab. Let's keep it simple. Analog Lab is a beautiful instrument, and they also had a free, I don't know if it's still free, but there was an Analog Lab free version. We did a video on it, and it's freaking really amazing. They actually updated it recently as well. The GUI is really simple, really nice. All right, cool. So I don't know, let's go to categories. Maybe I'm just going to choose something basic, an electric piano here. Let's have a look at this. Now you do have an ARP on here as well, actually. All right, we can record that in. Let's jump back over to our hardware. All right, so I've got a random electronic piano with an Arpeggio. Again, I'm going to do my best here. Let me just jam out for a bit. And we might actually change the length of our sequence. So over here, you got your 16 bar. I can change it up to a 32 bar. Okay, so now when we play back, and this is a funny thing that happens. You just got to make sure your DAW is having both tracks armed. Otherwise you won't, yes, it's turned my arm off on the drums. Otherwise you won't hear drums when you press play on the sequence. All right, so there we can hear it. All right, cool. I'm gonna have a little jam here, do my best with this guy. I'm actually gonna go a 64 step sequence. I've got it rolling, let it roll around. I can see the MIDI coming through here. We're in art mode. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. Okay, cool. So you can see both my tracks are running. So once you've recorded your ARP in, you got to put it back on sequence mode here, and this will now play the sequence back. And it's got an overdub mode, which is really cool, which you can press here, which if you weren't happy with your recording, you could essentially just overdub that. But let's keep going because I want to show you the 4 tracks, how this works. All right, we're going to go to track 3 now. So this will be our new sequence, and we'll have to jump back over to the software just so you can see what's going on. So We'll leave our little electronic piano there. We want to add another MIDI channel. We're using Ableton Live here, of course. And then you just want to see what channel that's coming up. So it's coming up on channel 3. We'll select that. Now, again, make sure we arm these other ones, otherwise it doesn't play back on the KeyStep Pro. And let's just add, I don't know, I feel like some cog action. I hope that isn't a conflict of interest for Arturia, but I gotta say, I'm a cog fan, but what more do you want? What more do you want from me? Let's put the M1, love the M1. We'll use one of the cog gadgets and should be able to see. So beautiful, right? All right, awesome. Let's try and get this sequence in. We'll jump over to the keys so you can see what I'm doing. I don't know, I'm just gonna play a little ditty here. We've got all our tracks armed, just something simple. Here we go, let it roll around. All right, awesome. All right, we've got a nice little sequence there. Okay, let's now load up track 4 on our KeyStep Pro. Jump over to it, we've got track 4 here, and then we just have to add one more MIDI controller. And what should we put? What instrument should we put here at the end? All right, so again, we just want to see where is our MIDI channel coming from, channel 4. There we go there, make sure they're all armed. And what do you want to add? Shall we keep it simple? Shall we get something different? Let's see, just on the fly. Let's go Arturia again, keeping it in the Arturia. Oh, let's do the acid, just keep it really interesting. Let's do an acid V on here, make sure they're all armed. Okay, so now we're gonna have an interesting mix of stuff going. Now remember, again, it's all from the KeyStep Pro. And let's show you the software there if you have not seen the acid V. I did a video on this, by the way. You must check that out. All right, there's the acid V. It is vector based. Yeah, you can make it nice and big. All right, so nice. So this is gonna all go off the KeyStep Pro. Let's go over to the correct camera. All right. All right, let's just have an attempt here. Let's go for it. So we've got our little sequence going. I'll go up a bit higher. All right, so I gotta do 64 steps. All right, we'll record that in, here we go. All right, that's my sequence. Missed the first beat. So I can get that back in. All right, we got it. All right, and adjust the mix to our liking. And then we have it, guys. All sequence from the KeyStep Pro. All happening from the KeyStep Pro. All right, guys, so there you go. There's my little attempt using all the sequences from the KeyStep Pro to make a little ditty, I guess a little beat here. Now, you could actually go one step further and actually record it straight into your DAW. Like if we actually just hit record up here, you'll see we hit record. See? The MIDI is going in. Now you might need to sync up your tempo and all of that jazz, which probably this is not actually synced up, although I've got the BPM the same as the DAW, but essentially you can just get your MIDI straight into your DAW if you love your sequence, and then you can save it and roll it off like that. Anyway, that's all I'm going to have time to show you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the KeyStep Pro Chroma edition, the Cyberpunk edition. I know it was a very quick sort of, I call these shallow dives, not deep dives, but you know, you can do a lot with this thing. It's even got the cool thing, it's really set up for the live performance. It's got a metronome out volume control on the back. So like if you're playing along with a band or a drummer especially, you can have a metronome that's synced up with the rest of the band to ensure all your sequence is really tight. Anyway, really, really cool stuff. Honestly, I freaking love it, and I hope that Arturia lets me, if I can keep this, it'd be great. Arturia, if you're watching, but really happy with this unit. And yeah, definitely if you're interested in having some kind of sequencer in your studio, highly recommend. No kickback for me, just a big thank you to Arturia for sending it out and letting us check it out on the show today. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me. If you liked the video today, leave a super thanks down below. I know we got through, we had some sort of technical difficulties there, or not technical difficulties there, but you know, I'm still sort of learning this unit, so thank you for sticking with me through those moments, and I hope I showed this, I gave justice to this unit so you could see how awesome it is. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back next week, another amazing drop to look at for you guys, and there's only 2 more shows after this for the year. In terms of the Emlyn in the Mix show, of course, we'll have the YouTube channel rolling along with all the videos and all the usual music technology nonsense and gear as we usually do. Make sure to leave a like on the way out, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and that's it for me, guys. Boom. Thank you so much for joining me today. Peace out. Boom. Hey, thanks for listening to the Emlyn in the Mix podcast. Here you will find all the latest in music technology, software and hardware, interviews, and more. Also, don't forget to check out the Emlyn in the Mix YouTube channel today. Till next time, keep it real.